too slow! Tickle!
Hello everybody, it is I, Mighty Eagle, and welcome to my new series. It is called History Lessons with Mighty Eagle, if you already read the title. Alright, today, for the first episode, we're going to talk about the history about the furious flyers, known as the Angry Birds.
As you may know, Angry Birds was a franchise that took over the world, and a lot of people loved it. A lot of merchandise, some cartoons, and 2 movies. Well, the 3rd movie isn't gonna happen because this is just a rumor. But despite on what's happening to the franchise right now, I say that I'm gonna go over the history on what happened with Angry Birds. So let's get started. So it all started when Rovio was about to go out of business because of some apparent reason. Well, one of the people in Rovio had a drawing with a bunch of flightless birds with no wings or feet, which someone got the idea, and then we got a title that some people were originally going to be calling it. It was going to be called Depressed Birds, which, yeah, that didn't pretty work well. But then they changed the title to what everyone comes to know and love, which is Angry Birds. On December 11th of 2009, the game was released in the app stores on iPhone, Android, and other devices. The game introduced the 7 main characters, which is Red, the bird that has no ability, Chuck, the bird who has speed ability, Jim, Jake, and Jay, the group name which is known as the Blues, can split into 3, Bomb, the bird that can explode, and Matilda, the female chicken that lays explosive eggs. In this game, the birds are really angry because a group of green pigs, known as the Bad Piggies, has stolen their 3 precious eggs. So in order to get the eggs back, they have to launch themselves from a giant slingshot and then launch themselves at their structures to get their eggs back. There are some 3 pigs that you need to fight against, which in this game they introduce Corporal Pig, Foreman Pig, and King Pig as the villains. 1 year after the game, and after the update of Mighty Hoax, Danger Above was released in 2010, and introduced a green toucan named Hal that can go back like a boomerang. Pretty cool, right? I know, right? Then later in 2010, when the big setup first arrived, they introduced us to the brother of Red, named Terrence, a bird who has no abilities just like Red, but also can smash anything. Anytime, anywhere. Then in the update of Hamane High, you get to use me, of course. In case you have any problems going through levels, you just launch a can of sardines, then I come here and then destroy the pigs. Which Hamane High was the fifth level of Angry Birds. And the game was very successful in 2010. After the success of Angry Birds, Rovio made a second game called Angry Birds Halloween, once it was originally called, but now it is called Angry Birds Seasons, which is a holiday-themed Angry Birds game, which is Halloween, Christmas, Easter, St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day, and all those types of stuff. Then comes to 2011, where Blue Sky Studios and 20th Century Fox teamed up with Rovio to make this game called Angry Birds Rio.
where you have to free the caged birds and defeat the marmosets. And yes, Nigel, the villain from the movie. And best of all, you can play as Blue and Jewel in the game. Then in October 2011, Rovio decided to add another bird to the franchise. In the update of Angry Birds Seasons Halloween, they added an orange, bubbly, candy-loving bird named Bubbles. He puffs up like a balloon and a pufferfish. And then he was added to the original game in December 2011 for its second anniversary. In March of 2012, which 2012 was the best year for Angry Birds, Rovio decided to release another game called Angry Birds Space. It's basically an Angry Birds game, but you do it in space. Not literally, I meant the characters in space. Anyways, most of the birds have the same abilities, except they change into space forms. Like Chuck turned purple, or as we call him, Laser Chuck, and then Bomb can literally still blow up, and turns green. And added the unforgettable bird, Icebird. We shall remember him. Anyways, Icebird just frees his stuff and the pigs to make sure that we can break through. Then sometime in September or August of 2012, Rovio updated Angry Birds Seasons for a back-to-school update and added a cute bubbly pink bird named Stella, which we will get to her spin-off later on. Anyways, Stella is a new bird around here, and she is a bird who blows bubbles and does anything for her friends. Sometime in September of 2012, Rovio released a spin-off game called Bad Piggies. Bad Piggies is a game where you had to build vehicles for the pigs to collect the maps and also steal the eggs from the birds, like they usually do in the original game. Also, they introduced the freckled pig, named Ross, and another pig, Mechanic Pig, which those two are never forgotten by Angry Birds fans, as we all notice that. Anyways, moving on. Crap, I forgot to notice. Angry Birds Friends got released on Facebook in February of 2012. I almost forgot about that. I should remember more. Anyways, they also introduced the power-ups, which is the bird seed, now turned to bird potion, King Sling, Super Sling Scope, and Bird Quick. Wingman and TNT we got introduced to sometime in 2013, which we will get to that year. In November of 2012, Rovio released a game based on the Star Wars franchise called Angry Birds Star Wars. Angry Birds Star Wars is a game that was based on the original Star Wars trilogy, A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. Sadly, you cannot get Path of the Jedi for free. You have to pay for it, or get all 3 stars in each levels. Unless you have a game console version or PC. I don't know. Angry Birds Star Wars 2 released on September of 2013. Now, it's basically a game that's based on the Star Wars prequels, The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith. Also, they put in a level in honor of a release of Star Wars Rebels. And also, you have a choice to play in the bird side or the pork side, where you play as the pigs, which is the bad guys. Also, they introduced the telepods, where they can let you teleport your figures into the game. Then Rovio released something different than the slingshotting games that we all know and love. They released Angry Birds Go in December of 2013. Angry Birds Go is basically just like Mario Kart, but you basically play as the birds or the pigs. Also, you can use the telepods too. Pretty cool, right? Man, I really gotta stop forgetting about things. In March of 2013, Rovio released their first animated cartoon, which is Angry Birds Toons. It's basically just it's like how you do in the games, but nah, not really. It's just an Angry Birds cartoon.
Also, Piggy Tales got released in 2014.
Also, they introduced Chef Pig, Chancellor Pig, and Professor Pig. Then sometime in 2014, Angry Birds Epic released in the app stores. It's basically an RPG game, but you play as Red, Chuck, Bomb, Matilda, and the Blues to get 5 eggs and defeat Wiz Pig, which is Chef Pig. Then in September of 2014, Rovio released another spin-off game called Angry Birds Stella. It's basically a Stella spin-off, but it includes some other birds like Poppy, Luca, Dahlia, and Wella, and Gale, the evil princess. Also, Stella got her own show, and Gale, the evil princess. Then Rovio released Angry Birds Transformers in sometime of October or November of 2014. I don't know. I gotta keep up with the dates. Anyways, it's basically you shooting lasers at robot pigs, and mostly the Angry Birds characters as the Transformers characters. Then Rovio released her 2 free matching game, which is Angry Birds Pop, which is Angry Birds Stella Pop previously, and they also released Angry Birds Fight, which is a free matching game, basically just like Candy Crush, which is probably leaning to the dark side of, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's move on. Then in 2015 of July, Rovio has released their sequel to the original Angry Birds game called Angry Birds 2, originally known as Angry Birds Under Construction, which it's basically just like the upgraded version of the original Angry Birds, but then they added another character, which is a new member of the flock named Silver. Like he is a gray bird who does a loop-de-loop thing or whatever. Anyway, it's basically you pick any bird and you can launch the bird and tap. Also, Red has an ability, which is probably his force push or his battle cry or whatever. Also, I forgot to mention, Red has an ability in the update of the original Angry Birds called Red's Mighty Feathers. Man, I gotta keep up with that. Then things started to change for the franchise. On May 20th, 2016, the Angry Birds movie got released into theaters by Sony Pictures and Rovio Entertainment. This movie tells the story about how the birds and pigs begin to hate each other. Then on August 15th, 2019, the Angry Birds Movie 2 released into theaters, which is a sequel to the Angry Birds movie. However, there are some modern games that some fans like, and there are some things that the fans hated. And things got worse for the Angry Birds franchise. Evolution came out, Blast came out, Dream Blast came out, the old games got deleted, blah blah blah, you know the rest. I'm so angry I can just hit the camera. I'm sorry about that, folks. It's just that you know how we were when Rovio doesn't listen to the fans. Anyways, hopefully things can get better now that we got the new CEO earlier this year. Well, that concludes the history of Angry Birds. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode and newer episodes of SFD. Well, I'll see you guys next time.